Hi, I'm Aaron Halimi, the founder and president of Renewable Properties. What's the deal with the White House fact sheet entitled Ending American Dependence on Unreliable Energy Sources? In case you missed it, President Trump recently issued an executive order to eliminate subsidies for unreliable green energy sources like wind and solar in furtherance of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. The order directs the Secretary of the Treasury to terminate the clean electricity production and investment tax credits for wind and solar facilities and implement the enhanced foreign entity of concern restrictions, each as identified in the One Big Beautiful Bill. The executive order is on top of the repeal of the IRA incentives that was passed and signed into law on the 4th of July. Plenty of people have explained the implications of the One Big Beautiful Bill, and I have covered it here on What's the Deal as that bill has made its way through the legislative process. So instead of diving deeper on the bill, I'm going to review these facts from the White House fact sheet. First, the executive order often mentions that renewable energy is unreliable and compromises our grid. I could cite a lot of reliability studies here, but let's keep it simple. Utilities need to keep the lights on, so they would never buy unreliable sources of energy. The fact is that 84% of new capacity additions in 2024 came from solar and energy storage, and that doesn't even include rooftops, which I have on my house, and it's working great for me. Bottom line, if utilities, corporations, and data centers are buying more solar, wind, and storage, it has to be reliable. Second, the order often says that solar is expensive. As it turns out, Lazard, a well-known U.S. finance advisory firm, just released its annual levelized cost of energy report. The big headline is that utility-scale solar and onshore wind remain the most cost-effective forms of new build energy generation on an unsubsidized basis. Emphasis added. Right now, we have subsidies that make it even cheaper, but Trump wants to roll those back at the expense of higher electricity prices for the ratepayer. That's you, in case you're wondering. Third, I'd like to point out that taxpayers have been giving fossil fuel industries subsidies for over 100 years. Renewable energy has only been receiving subsidies for about 20 years. You'd think that oil and gas industries would be profitable enough by now to not need subsidies anymore. Fourth, the executive order said that solar and wind degrade the beauty of our nation's natural landscape. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So I'm going to show you two photos. One is a picture of a Renewable Properties community solar farm in New York. The other is a photo of a natural gas plant. Which one would you rather have in your backyard? Fifth, the fact sheet mentions the word dispatchable, implying that utilities can't generate solar and wind when the sun isn't shining and the wind isn't blowing. While renewables are intermittent, we have coupled them with energy storage, which actually makes them dispatchable and more reliable than a gas peaker plant. Solar and storage is just as reliable and dispatchable as gas peaker plants. And oh, by the way, solar and storage is much more cost competitive. Last but not least, there's this part. Unleashing American energy will create jobs and economic prosperity, improve the United States trade balance, help our country compete with hostile foreign powers, strengthen relations with allies and partners, and support international peace and security. I don't disagree with that statement, but the truth is solar is American energy. It is what makes the U.S. dominant. Solar benefits American landowners, companies, energy users, manufacturers, data centers, electrical contractors, laborers, and over 280,000 industry workers throughout the United States. The incentives in the IRA were building upon that momentum by creating jobs, new solar, battery, and electric car factories here in the United States. On the heels of the IRA repeals and the big, beautiful bill and this executive order, it remains to be seen if those factories will keep going. If they don't, the rest of the world is going to keep adopting renewables and electric cars. And instead of the US, China is going to dominate selling those products to everyone, and we'll be left behind with old infrastructure, dirty energy, and polluting cars that nobody wants, including Americans. As a father of 2 kids, I'd rather live in America that has less pollution, more cool technology, American-made electric cars, and more new energy jobs that will compete with any country in the world, including China. Since that's what the president wants to, then I hope he'll rethink his fact sheet and his recent renewable energy policies. And that's what's the deal.